Okay, this is lesson 3, day 2. A bag of candy contains 300 pieces, of which 28% are red. How many pieces are red? Which quantity represents the whole? 300 pieces. Which of the terms in the percent equation is unknown? The part. Define a letter or variable to represent the unknown quantity. I'm going to let x represent that. So it's write and solve an equation to find the unknown quantity. Well, our p, our percent, and our w. So our w is 300. Our percent is 0.28. And our part is x. So here we have part, percent, and whole. So here we have x equals 0.28 times 300. This is going to equal 84. So we have 84 pieces that are red. So in exercise 2, it says a bag of candy contains 300 pieces of which are red. How many pieces are not red? A says, write an equation to represent the number of pieces that are not red, n. So that's the variable that we will use. It says, use your equation to find the number of pieces of candy that are not red. Well, if 28% are red, how do we find out the ones that are not? Well, if we look at 100%, we know 28 are red. So if I subtract that from 100, we would have 72 that are not. Okay, so now we've got part, percent, and whole. So now we still have our whole is 300. Our percent now is 72. And our part is n instead of x. So now we have p, percent and whole. We replace, so we have n equals 0.72 times 300, which now in this case is 216. And these are the ones that are not red. The next question says in B, Jalil told his math teacher that he could use the answer from example 5, which is 84, and mental math to find the number of pieces of candy that are not red. Explain what Jalil meant by that. Well, he figured he could take the 84 and subtract that from the 300. Now that we've been using our whole and just been finding the part, now what we're going to do is we are going to find the part and some of the percent. Here, Zoe inflated 24 balloons for decorations at the middle school dance. If Zoe inflated 15% of the total number of balloons inflated for the dance, how many balloons are there total? Well, if I have P, percent, and W, we have 15%, so we know what our percent is. It's asking us to find the total, which then would be W. So I'm going to make that my X. So remember before when I told you, part is going to be different names, whole is going to be different names. So now our whole is not only our of, but our total. So our part now is 24. So I'm going to have P, percent, and W. So P is 24. My percent is 0.515, and our W is X. So now I'm going to divide both sides by 0.15, because that's how we solve our one-step equation. So our X is going to equal 160, and that is the total number of balloons. Our next example, Haley is making admission tickets to the middle school dance. So far, she has made 112 tickets. Her plan is to make 320. What percent of the admission tickets has Haley produced so far? Solve the problem using the percent formula. So now we know that we have to find the percent. So we have P, percent, and W. So we want to find our percent, so that's our X. You know she's made 112, but she wants to make 320, so that 320 is going to be our whole, and the 112 is our part. Also remember, when we find our percent, it is going to be a decimal. So when I replace these, I have 112 equals X times 320. So I'm going to divide both sides by 320. So now I have X equals 0.35, but I have to change it to a percent. So I'm going to move it over 2 spaces to my right, and I have 35% that she has produced so far. My last example shows us sometimes we have to use that percent equation more than once. We have Brad put 10 crickets in his pet lizard's cage. After one day, he had eaten 20% of the crickets that he had put in the cage. By the end of the next day, he had eaten 25% of the remaining crickets. How many crickets were left in the cage after the end of the second day? So the first day, we have to take care of that first. So the first day, we have P, percent, W. So the first day he had 10 crickets. He ate 20% of them, so that would be 0.20. And we want to know how many that is. So we have P, percent, and W. So we have X equals 0.2 times 10, which means he ate 2 crickets that he ate. So to find out how many he had left, we have to subtract 10 minus 2. So he had 8 left after the first day. So now for the second day, okay, we have P, percent, W. Okay. Our whole now is, on the second day, he only started with 8 crickets. But he ate 25% of those. We want to know how many that he has left. So we have P, percent, and W. So we have X equals 0.25 times 8. So he ate another 2 of them. So again, I can't leave it at 2. That's how many he ate. So 8 minus 2, and he had 6 left after the second day. This ends our lesson for today.